When we think about extensibility, uh, outside my first, I would say 4 or 5 years, where I thought I could build enough software which could meet everybody's need, and I learned in my first 4 or 5 years that that's never going to happen. No matter how long I keep building the software, there always will be a business which will have some unique need. And that was kind of part and parcel of our cloud native architecture when we built it. We kind of knew that extensibility, every business will have a certain unique need. Our goal is to kind of meet 98% of your needs, right? 95, 98% to get to you whether you don't have to do anything else. But we also have to recognize that there's always that 2, 3, 4% where you're kind of a little bit unique, and we need to find a way that you can meet your unique needs. So that's been kind of part of the core and parcel. So now to do those 2 or 3% things, you have to figure out, okay, how do we make it easy? How do you kind of make that 2, 3% happen faster? Now, one big challenge, of course, is we're a pretty large piece of software, right? We solve your supply chain commerce problem, which is a pretty large area, from all the way from how do you take an order and how do you show inventory on your website, to how you take returns in your warehouse, right? And everything else in between. For API-driven architecture, that means you got 100,000 plus endpoints, and you got a pretty large set of documentation. It's a pretty extensive, right? It's not a small little space. And for somebody who's trying to kind of extend this thing, the first problem you face is, oh, this is a pretty big mammoth thing. How do I learn this thing? Where do I go? Where do I find stuff, right? And we have kind of over a period of time built tools to help you. But one challenge which has always been there is there's nothing which can kind of like really subset and make you learn this large piece of software very quickly. This is where kind of Gen AI has kind of come to help to some extent. I talked a little bit about knowledge bases. We build knowledge base, for example. Now, if you have a specific question about a specific area, let's say you want to extend how to generate an auto number, how do you replace an auto number, and you want to write your own logic for it, right? Earlier, I mean, you could do it if you knew what to do. You know, there is a user exit and there is an extension point for it. You can go and make a change. Discovering that extension point and which one exactly it is a different challenge. That's where we kind of like using a little bit of Gen AI to help you with it, is where you can ask the question saying, this is my reason, this is what I want to do, what's the best place to go extend this, right? And hopefully you get a good targeted answer, where it can from this large set of APIs and events and user exits and the richness of this, it can narrow it down for you and tell you exactly what to do, where to do, and that can make your life easier. And once you kind of know, most of the time what we have done is fairly easy after that, right? On where you can extend, how do you extend, those things becomes a lot more easier. Now, even with that, where we are using Gen AI to some extent, is when you write these extensions, we're trying to kind of like really help you generate those extensions, so you don't have to write code for it. Now, the code generated by Gen AI is not perfect yet. You still have to will have to review the code and make sure it's all good. So I don't think it's gone to the level where a non-programmer can completely kind of do this job. You still need somebody who understands it. But the programmer, which could possibly take 2 days to do this, can maybe do it in an hour. Right? So that's where this can kind of help now. Now, someday, I think it'll become good enough and smart enough where you may not even know programming. You can just kind of say it, and that's all you need to do.